ये बोलो। हरे
हरे कृष्णा। धन्यवाद प्रभु
हरे
जी। हरे
कृष्णा, हरे
कृष्णा।
कृष्णा, हरे कृष्णा, हरे 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 कृष्णा, हरे कृष्णा, हरे
मंगलाचरण।
हरे कृष्णा, हरे
मम
कृष्णा।
ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमामि विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. We'll do our prayers and then we'll continue from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit. Would you like to try today? Mataji, Shubho, anybody?
I can try, Prabhuji.
Hari go. Yes. Good.
Akruramasathyayata mukundas chaposvartham mathuram pravishta tada sapaurajayati tabachi govinda dhamo dharmadveti kamasya dutena yadeva nitau vrindavanatad vasudeva रुरोध गोपी भवन्त्यामति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति सरोवरे कालिया नागपातं शिशुं यशोदातनयं निसाम्य चक्रुर्लुतन्त्या पथिगोपबाला गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति अकुरारयाने यदुवंसनाथं समगच्छमं मथुरं निरीक्ष्य ऊचुर्वियोगात् किल गोपबाला गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति चक्रन्द गोपी नलनीन वनन्ते कृष्णेन हीना कुसुमे सयाना प्रफुल्लनीलोत्पलालोचनाभ्यां गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति माता भृत्याभ्यां परिवारयं गेहं प्रविष्टा विलालाप गोपी अगत्या मां पलाया विश्वनाथ गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति वृन्दावनास्थां हरिम् आसुबुद्ध्वा गोपी गता कापि वानं निशायं तत्रापि अदृष्ट्वती अवोचात् गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति सुखं सयाना निलया निजैपि नामामि विष्णु प्रवदन्ति मर्त्य ते निश्चितं तन्यमायतां व्रजन्ति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति सा निराजक्ष्यम् अवलोक्य राधं रूढोध गोविन्दवियोग्य खिन्नानां साखी प्रफुल्लोत्पलालोचनाभ्यां गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति जीवेरसन्ने मधुरा प्रिया त्वं सत्यं हितं त्वं परमं वदामि आवार्यनेथा मधुराक्षराणि गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, Prabhuji, with so many faults. I attempted, sorry.
Hare Krishna. Very nice, very melodious, and you sang with a lot of heart and a lot of devotion. Thank you, Mataji. Yes. Okay. Ritesh, what would you like to read? Translations today?
Sure, Prabhuji. And
40.
thank you, Mataji. It was very melodious. Seriously. I mean,
Both of you are very kind. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. 31. After Lord Mukunda had met with Akura and entered Mathura to attend the ceremony of breaking the bow of Kansa, all the citizens then shouted, Jaya Govinda, Jaya Damodar, Jaya Madhava. When both sons of Vasudeva had actually been taken out of Vrindavan by the messenger of Kansa, Yashoda sobbed within the house, crying, Govinda, Damodar, Madhava. Hearing how the son of Yashoda, who was but a child, was wrapped within the coils of Kalia, serpent at the pond, the coward boys cried, Govinda, Damodar, Madhava, and scurried down the path. Seeing the Lord of the Yadus proceeding towards Mathura upon Akura's chariot, the coward boys, upon realization of their impending separation, said, O Govinda, Damodara, Madhava, where are you going? Are you actually leaving us now? At the edge of the lotus forest, a gopi lay down upon the bed of flowers. Bereft of Krishna, tears flowed from her lotus eyes as she wept. Govinda, Damodara, Madhava. 36. Being severely restricted by her mother and father, the lamenting gopi entered her house, thinking, now that I have arrived home, save me, O Lord of the universe, O Govinda, Damodara, Madhava. 37. Thinking that Krishna was in the forest, a gopi fled into the forest in the middle of the night. But seeing that Krishna wasn't actually there, she became very fearful and cried, Govinda, Damodara, Madhava. 38. Even the ordinary mortals, comfortably seated at home, who chant the names of Vishnu, Govinda, Damodara, and Madhava, certainly attain at least the liberation of having a form similar to that of the Lord. 39. Seeing Srimati Radharani crying from the pangs of separation from Govinda, the blooming lotus eyes of Radha's girlfriend was also filled with tears, and she too cried, Govinda, Damodara, Madhava. 40. O my tongue, you are fond of sweet things and are of discriminating taste. I tell you the highest truth, which is also the most beneficial. Please just recite these sweet syllables, Govinda, Damodara, Madhava. 41. The knowers of the
40. Let's talk about 31 to 40. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for both of your sweet rendition and sweet reading. Prabhupada says, devotees, when they chant the holy names, and the Lord dances on our tongue. So similarly, when we recite these wonderful prayers and we read their translations, and the Lord comes, because these are pure prayers offered by pure devotees. So we also get a drop of that purity by their mercy. So thank you for both of your wonderful and sweet reading and singing. So I will thank Shri Bilwa Mangal Thakur ki jai, Shri Govinda Damodar Stotram ki jai, Meenu Mataji and Ritesh Prabhu ki jai. Okay, so we are continuing from Shri Prabhupada Lilamrita chapter 22. Prabhupada comes to save the hippies now in California. Actually, before this chapter, there is a foreword for the next section of chapters 22 to 28. So maybe today we'll read the foreword and then we'll continue with the rest of the reading. Okay. All right, I'll go ahead and read. Foreword to the first printing of Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita Volume 3, chapters 22 to 28. In the course of doing research for my book on the Hare Krishna movement and afterwards, during the late 60s and 70s, I had the good fortune on several occasions to meet and speak with A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I feel honored, therefore, to write the foreword to this volume. This work by Satsvarupa Das Goswami is an eloquent tribute to the memory of a man who played a central role in American religious history during the countercultural 60s and 70s. It will provide a mine of information to scholars and to anyone else interested in the movement Prabhupada brought to America from India, and in the counterculture itself, the social milieu in which the movement took root and flourished in its early years. In this volume, we encounter one of the most important periods in Srila Prabhupada's life, as he courageously establishes and develops his movement in San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury district, the counterculture capital of the West Coast, that he, an elderly foreigner with a thick Bengali accent and a relative stranger to Western, what to speak of countercultural ways, could minister so effectively to the hippies of the Haight-Ashbury, where sexual promiscuity and drug abuse were blended into a do-your-own-thing ethic, and where bowing to any sort of authority was rejected on principle, gives some indication of his extraordinary ability and fortitude. The author presents a number of brief case histories of some of Srila Prabhupada's early followers, personal accounts that illuminate the struggle of many youths to find meaning and an alternative way of life within a counterculture lacking cohesion and direction. Unable to identify with the religious institutions of the establishment, these young people found truth in the message of Srila Prabhupada and experiential validation of that truth in the chanting of the Mahamantra, the divine names of Sri Krishna. In reading these accounts, the reader will be struck with Srila Prabhupada's personal qualities, his strength of purpose, his genuine humility, and his deep spirituality, by which he gently led his erring disciples from hedonism to Krishna. He was a practical man. He knew that not all who attended his sessions would become converts, but he believed that even a little contact with Krishna consciousness would bring them tangible spiritual benefit. In this volume, we have, in effect, a fascinating close up study of the process of religious conversion, about which psychologists and sociologists are so intrigued. We witness how Srila Prabhupada's disciples gradually change their ways, accepting moral and spiritual discipline under his compassionate guidance. And we learn of backsliders whose conversions were insufficient to keep them from giving into sensual temptations. For some of his followers, those with doubts and inner struggles, conversion was a slow or vacillating process. This compelling story reveals much of the process and the degrees of conversion. The incidents themselves clearly contradict the loosely made claims of some uninformed critics that the Hare Krishna movement employs some kind of occult, mild mind control. These examples make it sufficiently clear that conversion to Krishna consciousness is a process that engages the full range of intellectual, emotional, and volitional faculties. Although never compromising his lofty principles, Srila Prabhupada mobilized existing resources of the contemporary subculture to make the Vaishnava faith better known. Without endorsing the drug abuse of the hippies to whom he was ministering, he dared to have set up and then appear at a mantra rock dance featuring such attractions as Janis Joplin and the Grateful Dead. What a contrast! Amid the intermingling of incense and marijuana smoke and pulsating strobe lights illuminating depictions of Krishna's life, Srila Prabhupada delivered his timeless message of Krishna consciousness. Then, with the aid of poet Allen Ginsberg, he soon had the entire crowd dancing and swaying like grain in the wind as they chanted the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is also the story of Srila Prabhupada's sacrificial life. He brought his message to America at an advanced age when most elderly gentlemen in India are content to retire in comfort in the bosom of their families. As might be expected, the accumulative strain of traveling, lecturing, and sleeping little while spending his early morning hours translating and commenting on religious texts, he was preparing for the publication. Brought illness. His weak health led him to return to India and to his Vedic doctors, in whom he showed considerably more faith than in Western medicine. Still, he was not content to remain in India, And this volume closes with his return to America and to his anxiously waiting disciples. Perhaps more than anything else, this volume reveals those extraordinary personal attributes of Srila Prabhupada that elicited such deep reverence and affection from his disciples. Besides being a man of deep moral strength, humility, and holiness, he was genuinely renounced. Unlike many modern gurus, he was content to live as his disciples did. Even when his health failed and he returned to the blazing heat of Delhi for his recovery, he sought nothing better than a poorly furnished room without air conditioning in a Hindu temple where he had resided before coming to America. Srila Prabhupada's life, as it is revealed here, is the epitome of his ideal, an ideal that he set forth for others to follow. In an age of pervasive hypocrisy and cynicism, it is this kind of rare model that we need. Dr. J. Stilson Judah, Professor Emeritus, History of Religions, Graduate Theological Union and Pacific, School of Religion, Berkeley, California. Okay. So it's very good that Prabhupada has arrived in California, and this is a professor from the UC Berkeley, California, who's writing this forward. Okay, so we'll continue from here. Yesterday, I think we read, I was not there yesterday, but I caught up on the reading, and we're seeing how Prabhupada has arrived in San Francisco, and he's already given a lecture at the Hitashbury district temple that Mukunda and Janaki have very lovingly readied for him, and there are so many followers who had come from the concert to the airport to receive him, and Prabhupada's again down to earth personality has attracted not just the followers but even the reporters who are glorifying his arrival and his personality. And Prabhupada is starting to preach and also continue his morning sadhana, waking up early, doing his translations, and then continuing his chanting. And he's teaching from, or he's continuing his commentaries from Chaitanya Charitamrita and preparing for his next book, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Okay, so we'll continue from here. He was following what had become a vital routine in his life, rising early and writing the parampara message of Krishna consciousness. Putting aside all other considerations, disregarding present circumstances, he would merge into the timeless message of transcendental knowledge. This was his most important service to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. The thought of producing more books and distributing them widely inspired him to rise every night and translate. Prabhupada worked until dawn. Then he stopped and prepared himself to go down to the temple for the morning meeting. Though some of the New York disciples had objected, Srila Prabhupada was still scheduled for the mantra rock dance at the Avalon Ballroom. It wasn't proper, they had said, for the devotees out in San Francisco to ask their spiritual master to go to such a place. It would mean amplified guitars, pounding drums, wild light shows, and hundreds of drugged hippies. How could his pure message be heard in such a place? But in San Francisco, Mukunda and others had been working on the mantra rock dance for months. It would draw thousands of young people, and the San Francisco Radhakrishna temple stood to make thousands of dollars. So although among his New York disciples, Srila Prabhupada had expressed uncertainty, he now said nothing to deter the enthusiasm of his San Francisco followers. Sam Spearstra, Mukunda's friend and one of the mantra rock organizers, explained the idea to Hayagriva, who had just arrived from New York. There's a whole new school of San Francisco music opening up. The Grateful Dead have already cut their first record. Their offer to do this dance is a great publicity boost just when we need it. But Swamiji says that even Ravi Shankar is Maya, Hayagriva said. Oh, it's all been arranged, Sam assured him. All the bands will be on stage, and Allen Ginsberg will introduce Swamiji to San Francisco. Swamiji will talk and then chant Hare Krishna, with the bands joining in. Then he leaves. There should be around 4,000 people there. Srila Prabhupada knew he would not compromise himself. He would go, chant, and then leave. The important thing was to spread the chanting of Hare Krishna. If thousands of young people gathering to hear rock music could be engaged in hearing and chanting the names of God, then what was the harm? As a preacher, Prabhupada was prepared to go anywhere to spread Krishna consciousness. Since chanting Hare Krishna was absolute, One who heard or chanted the names of Krishna, anyone, anywhere, in any condition, could be saved from falling to the lower species in the next life. These young hippies wanted something spiritual, but they had no direction. They were confused, accepting hallucinations as spiritual visions. But they were seeking genuine spiritual life, just like many of the young people on the Lower East Side. Prabhupada decided he would go. His disciples wanted him to, and he was their servant and the servant of Lord Chaitanya. Mukunda, Sam, and Harvey Cohen had already met with rock entrepreneur Chet Helms, who had agreed that they could use his Avalon ballroom and that if they could get the bands to come, everything about the cost for the groups, security, and a few other basics would go as profit for the San Francisco Radhakrishna temple. Mukunda and Sam had then gone calling on the music groups, most of whom lived in the Bay Area, and one after another the exciting new San Francisco rock bands, the Grateful Dead, Moby Grape, Big Brother, and the holding company, Jefferson Airplane, Quicksilver Messenger Service, they had all agreed to appear with Swami Bhaktivedanta for the minimum wage of $250 per group, and Allen Ginsberg had agreed. The lineup was complete. In San Francisco, every rock concert had an art poster, many of them designed by the psychedelic artist called Mouse. One thing about Mouse's posters was that it was difficult to tell where the letters left off and the background began. He used dissonant colors that made his posters seem to flash on and off. Borrowing from this tradition, Harvey Cohen had created a unique poster. Krishna consciousness comes west, using red and blue concentric circles and a candid photo of Swamiji smiling in Tompkins Square Park. The devotees put the posters up all over town. Hayagriva and Mukunda went to discuss the program for the Mantra Rock Dance with Allen Ginsberg. Allen was already well known as an advocate of the Hare Krishna mantra. In fact, acquaintances would often greet him with Hare Krishna when he walked on Haight Street. And he was known to visit and recommend that others visit the Radha Krishna temple. Hayagriva, whose full beard and long hair rivaled Allen's, was concerned about the melody Allen would use when he chanted with Swamiji. I think the melody you use, Hayagriva said, is too difficult for good chanting. Maybe, Allen admitted, but that's the melody I first heard in India. A wonderful lady saint was chanting it. I'm quite accustomed to it, and it's the only one I can sing convincingly. With only a few days remaining before the Mantra Rock dance, Alan came to an early morning kirtana at the temple and later joined Srila Prabhupada upstairs in his room. A few devotees were sitting with Srila Prabhupada eating Indian sweets when Alan came to the door. He and Prabhupada smiled and exchanged greetings, and Prabhupada offered him a sweet, remarking that Mr. Ginsberg was up very early. Yes, Alan replied, the phone hasn't stopped ringing since I arrived in San Francisco. This is what happens when one becomes famous, said Prabhupada. That was the tragedy of Mahatma Gandhi also. Wherever he went, thousands of people would crowd about him, chanting, Mahatma Gandhi ki jai, Mahatma Gandhi ki jai. The gentleman could not sleep. Well, at least it got me up for Kirtan this morning, said Alan. Yes, that is good. The conversation turned to the upcoming program at the Avalon Ballroom. Don't you think there's a possibility of chanting a tune that would be more appealing to the Western ears? Alan asked. Any tune will do, said Prabhupada. Melody is not important. What is important is that you will chant Hare Krishna. It can be in the tune of your own country. That doesn't matter. Prabhupada and Alan also talked about the meaning of the word hippie, and Alan mentioned something about taking LSD. Prabhupada replied that LSD created dependence and was not necessary for a person in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness resolves everything, Prabhupada said. Nothing else is needed. At the Mantra Rock Dance, there would be multimedia light show by the biggest names in the art, Ben Van Meter and Roger Hilliard. Ben and Roger were expert at using simultaneous strobe lights, films, and slideshows to fill an auditorium with optical effects reminiscent of LSD visions. Mukunda had given them many slides of Krishna to use during the Kirtana. One evening, Ben and Roger came to see Swamiji in his apartment. Roger Hilliard. He was great. I was really impressed. It wasn't the way he looked, the way he acted, or the way he dressed, but it was his total being. Swamiji was very serene and very humorous, and at the same time, obviously, very wise and in tune, enlightened. He had the ability to relate to a lot of different kinds of people. I was thinking, some of this must be really strange for this person to come to the United States and end up in the middle of Haight Ashbury with a storefront for an ashram and a lot of very strange people around. And yet, he was totally right there with everybody. Hare Krishna. Okay, let's stop here. So yes, Prabhupada is continuing his journey and his wonderful pulling to say, pulling everybody, just like we pull the cart of Lord Jagannath, and we pull Lord Jagannath into our hearts. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada is pulling all these young devotees into the heart and bringing them closer to Krishna. So, yeah, like Mukunda was saying when he was greeting Prabhupada at the airport, he was asking everybody to chant, right? And that will please the Swamiji. And then Swamiji, as he was coming out, he was coming out to the aircraft into the terminal. He could hear the Hare Krishna Mahamantra being chanted, and that brought smile on Srila Prabhupada's face, right? Yesterday when he was coming to California. And similarly here, Prabhupada is instructing again that doesn't matter, what melody you are singing, how you are singing, as long as you are singing and chanting the holy names, that will start the purification process. And even to think of, all the demons, who would just remember Krishna, even um, in terms of not remembering him with devotion, but in agony or in strife against him, still that would liberate the demons. So that's the same mood Srila Prabhupada is saying, that doesn't matter, in what mood or what consciousness you're chanting. Even if somebody doesn't become a devotee, at least if the holy names pierces his ears and goes into his heart, that will save them from fall down in their next life. At least it will bring them again into a human form of life from where they can advance. So that is the Agyata Sukriti that happens when we that's when we do all the Rath Yatras. That is the significance, that while the Lord is being pulled into our heart, there are so many people out there in the world who have no clue of the Lord and His holy names. But when they just have that even a minute of 2 minutes of darshan of the Lord, that gives them that Agyata Sukriti from where their fall down stops, and then at least their revival of spiritual consciousness begins. So in that mode, today in Columbus, they're going to have a wonderful first Rath Yatra, similar to what Cincinnati we did yesterday. And here in San Francisco is where it all started. The Rath Yatra started here, actually. So it's again very nice that Prabhupada has arrived in San Francisco. There will be Rath Yatra, and where it all began, and that's where we are going to have Rath Yatra today in Columbus. It's all going to begin in Columbus today for the very first time. And yeah, we are very, very happy. And yesterday, actually, as Meenakshi Muni was sharing, Prabhupada has moved out of New York, Lower East Side, from the Matchless Gifts storefront. And I think she shared that video in the group, in the book reading. If you got to see, I saw some glimpses of it, but it was again very nice. Prabhupada, he says that even while I'm going, I'll come back, right? But the program should go on. So similarly, while Prabhupada left New York to go to California, yesterday, again, very coincidental, that Prabhupada comes back to New York in his murti, and it is so nice seeing those devotees welcome Srila Prabhupada to the storefront again, to Matchless Gifts in New York, 26 Second Avenue. He comes actually in a car. I was just watching few minutes, and they brought Srila Prabhupada's Vigraha in a car, just like the Cadillac of those, like those vintage cars. He comes riding in the back seat. From there, they take him inside, and then once he's installed there, and they play the first album that we actually listened to early last week. And it was called as the Happening album, the first album that Srila Prabhupada recorded in Times Square. And that album, that particular kirtan, is what they played yesterday in New York. So it was very, very nice. Again, we are able to connect all these things that we are reading every day, and Prabhupada is reciprocating with us. Thank you so much for your association. Any comments, Mataji, Prabhuji?
Sarvajit, thank you so much. Even yesterday, in your absence, Mataji did a wonderful job. I didn't get the time to thank her for all the things, but she was very thorough with everything, and it was very, very sweet of her that she kept saying, "Oh, I'm sorry if I made a mistake," but actually she did not. It was kind of very inspiring for the others also that she did all that, and then gives us a boost that okay, in your absence, at least we can also try. and definitely we missed you. And thank you so much. Now, reading about all this again and again, it just gives us a lot of inspiration that Prabhupada ji never gave up, and his feelings and about all the things where he's like, okay, this is not important. Melody is not that important, but chanting the name of Hare Krishna is more important, and that gives us a lot of inspiration. That even when we are kind of uh, sometimes not thorough with all the, I will say, the right way of seeing the things, just saying that okay, chanting can give us some salvation or give us the can lead us to the path of devotion is really inspiring. Thank you, Prabhuji, for all you do. I mean, it's really inspiring that each and every day, no matter how much work is and all that you have been as a family, everybody in your is doing such a devotional service. It's really, really very, very inspiring for the others who are still struggling to like balance the life along with the devotional services. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. All glories to the Gurudev, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, we are just like tiny ants too. We can just like even with the spirit of an ant, like ant, they are very focused. You see, right? When an ant एक चींटी जब जाती है, they just focus. They just keep on going in the same direction, right? Once they pick a direction, they'll just keep going, right? And they'll go home. ऐसे अपने घर पे जाते, they go back home. वैसे ही हमको बस वैसे ही I'm just trying to be like that, So we can always learn from all the living entities around us. But yes, so if we are able to just follow in the same mood and spirit that Prabhupada gave us, then and that will be the perfection of our lives. जैसे 2 दिन पहले हम पढ़ रहे थे, सनातन गोस्वामी बोलते हैं चैतन्य महाप्रभु को कि Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that you're fortunate, Krishna is very merciful, he's saving you. And वो क्या बोलते हैं उनको, वो बोलते हैं कि I don't know who Krishna is, but you have saved me, right? So उनके लिए वो गुरु थे, and गुरु कौन थे? वो कृष्णा ही थे. He was Radha and Krishna combined in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's form. And similarly, if we just follow our gurus, they are non-different from the Lord because the potency of the Lord is there. Lord बोलते हैं, Krishna बोलते हैं, right, कि I reside in the heart of my pure devotees, and my pure devotees always reside in my heart. So they are non-different. So अगर हम गुरु के वाकई जो true spiritual, bona fide spiritual master हैं, just Srila Prabhupada is, we just follow him. We follow him. Krishna is more merciful because Krishna says, oh, ये देखो ये मेरे भक्त के महिमा गा रहे हैं या भाई मेरे भक्त को फॉलो कर रहे हैं, तो he becomes more pleased. And so that is what our mood should be. We should never think that, we should never have that mood of pride or कि नहीं मुझे भगवान से मिलना है. अगर हम हमारे गुरु से मिल रहे हैं और गुरु के पथ चिन्हों पर चलते हैं तो भगवान उससे और ज्यादा प्रसन्न होते हैं. So that is what is a humble attempt that we are all trying to make. And thank you for joining. I know you were out for a week or so, but happy that you're
Thank
back.
you, Prabhuji. You are always very humble. I don't know how you did that from the Vrindavan, but in North Carolina, somehow I wasn't getting the connection. And then with the kids and my other cousins were there also. So it was very kind of, we were all clubbed together and it was like, okay, shall I do it or not? But I was doing the chanting, but wasn't able to join. And
That's good. See, आप chanting कर रहे थे तो वो लोग सो भी रहे होंगे या जो भी कर रहे होंगे मेरे कानों में जाएगा. So it'll benefit them just like what Prabhupada said today. Doesn't matter if they join, not join. If it's just even if the holy names go into their ears, it benefits not just human beings. It benefits all. उस जगह में कितने चींटियां कितने छोटे insects होते हैं, पेड़ होते हैं, सबके लिए everybody gets benefited. That is the power of the holy names. So yeah, we should continue no matter what happens, and then the Lord will take care of the rest. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll end here with Vaishnav Pranam prayers. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णवृंद की जय. जगतगुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद लीलामृत की जय. निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे. हरि हरि बोल. हरे कृष्णा.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, are we doing the book reading in the evening? At the last message, I was like, it will be starting next week.
Yes, Monday to Thursday, Prabhu. So yeah, we'll do on Monday again. because this week we had a lot of home programs every day. So in the evenings. So yeah, we didn't do that we did only on Monday, I think we met, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday we did not. But yeah, we'll continue again from this coming Monday in the
Okay.
evening. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you.